The airport buzzed with muffled goodbyes and rolling luggage. Somewhere, a child laughed. Somewhere else, someone cried. She stood by the glass wall near gate 17, not moving. Planes lifted into the sky behind her reflection, steel birds piercing the clouds. Her hands, buried deep in the pockets of her faded trench coat, trembled slightly, not from cold, but from everything else. In her right pocket, her fingers curled around the cracked face of an old silver watch. Still ticking. Barely. Flight 302 to Boston now boarding, came the announcement overhead. She didn't look up. Across the hall, a family reunited, arms tangled, eyes wet. She watched them, not with envy, not even longing, but with that quiet, hollow ache that hums when you remember something you've tried so hard to forget. He used to smile like that. Before he stopped seeing me as anything but a burden with a mop and a heartbeat. She pulled the strap of her small suitcase tighter. It had only one sticker on it, a faded red house, peeling at the edges. The sticker was her niece's doing. She hadn't had the heart to remove it. Or maybe she couldn't. "Do you need help, miss?" A young airline staffer paused, looking at her kindly. She blinked. "No. I'm waiting." The girl nodded and left. Waiting. Yes. That's what she'd done her whole life. Waited for her chance. For a voice. For him to see her. Her reflection in the glass didn't look like a nanny anymore. Not the tired girl with tired eyes who ran baths and wiped floors and told bedtime stories to a child that wasn't hers. No, this woman had something else in her eyes now. A flicker. A plan. A storm. He said I was just the nanny. A loudspeaker crackled. Another boarding call. Another crowd surge. Another life beginning. She stepped away from the glass slowly, the heels of her boots clicking against the marble floor like a countdown. Her hand brushed over the old watch again, the one her mother gave to her and not to him. The time was off by 7 minutes, always had been, but it still beat with something real. Something earned. As she walked toward the car pickup area, her phone vibrated. "You're not serious. Tell me you didn't actually buy it." She stared at the message. No reply. The wind from the automatic doors caught the ends of her hair as she stepped out into the golden dusk. And smiled. Just a little. Then it was gone. She sat on the cold metal bench outside Arrivals, the cracked silver watch now resting in her open palm. It ticked steadily in her hand, faint but alive, like breath on glass. The sky above was bruised with evening light, clouds moving slow like memory. A plane roared above and she looked up, eyes blinking hard, remembering how her father once told her, "Time is the one thing they can't steal from you. Unless you give it away." She gave it away for years. To dishes. To laundry. To bedtime lullabies in a room that wasn't hers. To covering for a brother who never once said thank you. The small suitcase beside her leg was old, the wheels worn down from too many buses, too many sublets, too many almosts. She ran her fingers over the red sticker again, a little house drawn with fat crayon lines and a chimney puffing hearts instead of smoke. Myra's house, her niece had said once, patting it proudly. "You'll have one like this someday." Someday. She shifted, watching a couple across the sidewalk embrace with such aching relief it made her chest tight. He dropped his bags. She dropped her guard. No one was waiting for her. But someone was watching. A man, tall, early 40s maybe, stood by a taxi pole not 10 feet away. He wasn't staring exactly, but his eyes kept returning to her like a bookmark slipping between pages. Their gazes met once, quickly, and his brows lifted slightly in recognition. Or maybe it was confusion. Hard to tell. He didn't speak. Just nodded, once, slow. Intentional. She looked away. Back to the watch. Back to that last fight. Back to her brother's voice, sharp, dismissive. You're just the nanny. Don't act like this is your house. She had cleaned his house like it was sacred. Stayed late when he forgot his own daughter's school play. Cooked meals, fixed leaky taps, held Mira when she got fevers. Just the nanny. Her fingers closed around the watch. No more. The message still blinked on her phone screen. Tell me you didn't actually buy it. She hadn't replied. Didn't plan to. A soft drizzle began, light as whispers. The stranger stepped forward, offering an umbrella wordlessly. She almost reached for it, then stopped. A hesitation. Small. Deep. Like her body didn't trust kindness anymore. Their eyes locked again. He didn't push. She stood up instead. Pulled her coat tighter. Her fingers trembled, but her jaw stayed firm. And without a word, she turned toward the parking lot, but not without glancing back, just once. As if leaving something unfinished. Or waiting for it to begin. The rain came heavier now. Not the soft kind, but sharp, deliberate drops that stung when they hit skin. She reached the curb, suitcase dragging in a slow, stuttering rhythm behind her. Somewhere a horn honked. Somewhere thunder growled in the distance. She should have kept walking. But her feet paused. The stranger had followed at a respectful distance, still carrying the umbrella, still not saying a word. His steps were careful, like someone who had learned not to take up too much space. Under the airport's overhang, he stopped beside a vending machine, shaking water from his sleeves. His coat, though decent, clung too tightly to shoulders that looked too used to weight. She noticed his shoes then, worn at the edges, one sole peeling slightly. Not a tourist. Not business class. And when he turned slightly, pulling out his wallet to check something, a small photo slipped out. It fluttered down near the trash can. He didn't notice. She did. It was a black and white picture, a little boy in overalls, sitting on a wooden step, grinning through missing teeth. The edges were bent, like it had been folded and unfolded 100 times. She bent to pick it up. Hesitated. Her hand hovered over it. Her throat tightened. Why does this feel like mine? The thunder rolled again. He turned finally, meeting her eyes with a question hanging unspoken in his expression. Not curiosity. Something else. Recognition, maybe. Or guilt. She offered the photo wordlessly. His hand brushed hers as he took it, and in that brief contact, something passed through her, not electricity, but memory. Something too old to name. You dropped this, she murmured. He looked at the picture for a moment too long. Then tucked it carefully back into his wallet. Thanks. His voice was quiet. Worn at the edges like his shoes. She nodded and turned again, ready to disappear into the night. The Uber icon blinked on her phone screen. 5 minutes away. Enough time to walk away from whatever this was. But her body didn't move. Instead, she asked, "Who's the boy?" His reply took time. "My brother." Just 2 words, but they landed heavy in the air between them. She looked down at her suitcase. Then at his eyes. Then at the rain, which now dripped from the airport awning in crooked lines, like tears that refused to fall straight. She didn't know if this was fate. Or some kind of trap. But she didn't walk away. Not yet. And he didn't explain. Not yet. The umbrella between them tilted slightly. Shared cover. 2 strangers. One unspoken story. Waiting. She stood at the edge of the sidewalk, rain whispering against her coat, the world spinning in soft gray swirls. Her driver's car had arrived, silver sedan, headlights flickering, wipers already working overtime. The suitcase leaned against her leg like a tired child. Her hand rested on the handle, gripped tight. One step forward and this would all be over. One step, and she'd leave him behind, whoever he was, whatever this moment had meant. She started to move. Then stopped. Turned. He was still there, a few paces back, standing half-shielded by the terminal roof, umbrella now folded and dripping by his side. The photo was gone. But in his hand, delicate, careful, he held the cracked silver watch. Her watch. Her chest twisted. She reached into her coat pocket instinctively, empty. She hadn't even realized it was gone. He held it like it was fragile. Like time itself might crack open if he pressed too hard. Their eyes met. She didn't speak. He stepped forward, slow. No arrogance. No charm. Just wait. People passed between them, rushing through the rain with umbrellas and children, casting glances, some curious, some pitying. One woman stared a little longer than polite, lips pursed in judgment. A soaked girl, a worn man, a silence stretching between them like thread pulled too tight. He extended his hand. The watch lay flat in his palm, catching the wet light. I found it on the bench, he said. Didn't want it lost. She didn't take it. Just looked at it. At him. How did you know it was mine? He shrugged lightly, but something broke behind his eyes. Some people carry more than just bags. They carry silence. And I've seen silence hold things like this before. The words slid through her, soft and raw. The kind of soft that hurt. She stepped back. I don't know you. I know, he said. Not defensively. Just, truth. But you look like someone who's lost the same kind of things I have. Thunder again. Distant now. The rain softened, like it was listening. She reached for the watch. Her fingers brushed his again, longer this time. But not lingering. Just real. Her eyes welled before she could stop them. She blinked it away. Swallowed it down. I have to go, she whispered. I know. No one moved. The driver leaned out the window impatiently, but she didn't look. Didn't wave. Didn't apologize. She turned, finally, and walked to the car. But just before she got in, she looked back one last time. He was still standing there. Holding nothing now. And in her palm, the cracked watch ticked louder than ever. The silver sedan pulled into the wide, gated driveway of the house. Her house now. The one she'd bought in full, no mortgage, no co-signer, no permission. Her brother's dream. Her reality. She didn't smile. The watch ticked softly in her hand as she stepped out, rain misting over the roofline of the elegant estate. Every brick, every carved railing felt like a scream she'd never let out. Inside, the rooms echoed. Still empty. Still untouched. Except for the envelope waiting on the kitchen counter. Cream paper. No name. Just to whom it may concern typed in clean, corporate font. She opened it cautiously. Her resume. A handwritten note. We met once in the rain. I didn't know it was you until I saw the photo. The girl who carried silence like a secret. I hope you'll still consider the position. Her chest collapsed inward. She stared at the signature. Rayan Hale. CEO. Of the very company she'd applied to last week. The one that owned her brother's firm. The one her brother used to brag about at every dinner table, claiming one day, he'd be working right under Hale himself. Her knees touched the edge of the marble counter. She held on. Rayan Hale. The man from the airport. The stranger who said almost nothing, but saw everything. And the watch, her mother's, he had held it so gently, with that flicker of pain in his eyes. She moved to the window slowly. Her hands trembling now, not with fear, but something closer to breaking open. She turned the watch over in her palm again, and only then noticed the faint engraving on the back. For Mira, so you always know time is love. Not her mother's writing. Not hers at all. Her breath caught. She sat down hard on the kitchen stool, the storm finally catching up to her bones. His daughter. Mira. A name. A loop. A haunting echo. Time is the one thing they can't steal from you, unless you give it away. The memory rose, not of her father this time, but of Mira, her niece, pressing the sticker to the suitcase and saying, "This is your house someday." A name given in innocence. A life wrapped in full circle. And now the girl had stepped into a story she didn't write but couldn't leave. Her phone buzzed. Another message from her brother. "What did you do, Sarah? Who even are you now?" She stood slowly. And walked into the sunlit room at the end of the hallway, once her brother's study. Now hers. She shut the door behind her. Not gently. The airport again. Same glass wall. Same gate. Same rain tapping soft rhythms on the panes. But this time, she stood on the other side. No suitcase. No cracked voice inside her head whispering you're just the nanny. Her hair was pulled back now. Her coat newer, tailored. Still quiet, still her. But heavier with knowing. She held the silver watch in her hand. Polished. Fixed. Still ticking. Behind her, footsteps. She didn't need to turn. You always wait until the last second to say the real thing, don't you? Rayan's voice came softly. Some things take time to become truth. He stepped beside her. No umbrella this time. Just presence. A stillness that wasn't empty. She offered the watch toward him. He didn't take it. "It wasn't yours to begin with," she said. "It wasn't Myra's either," he replied. "It was my wife's. Mira wanted you to have it. She told me once that you were the only adult who actually listened." Her throat burned. He continued, slowly. "After they died, I packed everything. But I couldn't throw this away. So I convinced myself keeping it was remembering. But I wasn't remembering. I was hiding. And now?" she asked. "Now I see someone else who stopped hiding." Silence. The loudspeaker crackled above them. Final boarding call, gate 17. Her heart kicked. Full loop. "I thought you wanted me for the company," she said, unsure. "Because I applied. Because I bought his house." Some kind of revenge fantasy. Rayan half smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "I didn't choose you for the company." She looked at him. "I chose you because you remind me of someone who never got the love she deserved. And she gave it anyway. Day after day. Without needing a title or a thank you." The old version of her might have cried then. Might have begged for more. But this version? She reached for his hand, placed the watch in it. "No more borrowed time," she said. "You hold your grief. I'll hold mine." He closed his fingers around the watch, nodding once. Then she turned. She walked back toward the exit, past strangers, past lovers holding hands, past the memory of who she used to be in this very place. Not taking anything. Not claiming victory. Just choosing herself. The sun had begun to break through the clouds, gold spilling across the floor like something sacred. She stepped into it. No applause. No arrival gate. Just peace. Not every stranger you help is meant to stay, but some leave you changed forever. She walked the garden path barefoot. Early morning. Dew kissed the grass, and the house behind her stood still, holding stories in its walls like breath held long and deep. The birds were louder now, or maybe she had just learned how to hear them. Inside, the study smelled faintly of jasmine from the candles she lit every evening. The furniture was no longer cold and foreign, it had grown into her. Or she had grown into it. The cracked silver watch sat quietly in a small velvet box inside the drawer. Not forgotten. Not displayed. Just, at rest. It no longer needed to be carried. The light from the window touched it gently each day at 9:07, 7 minutes off, as always. But now, the time felt like its own truth. Not broken. Just personal. Her niece's sticker still clung to the side of the old suitcase, tucked in the corner of the hall closet. She hadn't peeled it off. Maybe she never would. Some names, some gestures, didn't need correcting. The house had settled too. No longer a weapon. No longer revenge. Just a space she chose to inhabit without permission. And that was enough. A letter sat unopened on the table, one from her brother, scribbled in guilt, or maybe something like apology. She hadn't read it yet. Not out of anger. Just, time. It would come. Healing always did, in pieces. Later, at the local cafe, she sat by the window sipping black coffee. Her eyes scanned the street, not searching. Just watching. A man passed by with his daughter on his shoulders. She laughed, wild and free, sticky hands in his hair. Sarah smiled. Not the hollow kind. The real one. Quiet. Sure. She remembered something Mira once said in a whisper while dozing off in her lap. You're not like the other grown-ups. You see people. She held on to that now. Not like a wound. Like a light. Sometimes love is not romance, it's recognition. Of a stranger in the rain. Of a child's voice. Of the woman in the mirror after years of not looking. She didn't need to prove anything anymore. Not to her brother. Not to Rayan. Not even to herself. Outside, the wind stirred softly. A single leaf brushed the window. She watched it spin, pause, and then lift, carried not by force, but by grace. She didn't know where it would land. But it wasn't falling. And maybe that was the point. Peace, she whispered, isn't always quiet. Sometimes it's choosing not to fight where you no longer need to win. And somewhere in the stillness, a beginning, dressed as an ending.